Hey, all you spicy women out there, Jules and Michelle here from Seattle, Washington, what I also like to call the Emerald City, coming to you with our real life stories and no BS conversations that we can share with all of you about midlife.
That is right, everybody. I just want to point out Julie's shirt for those of that you can see on YouTube. Look at those. Yep. And by the time you're listening this, we will have won the Super Bowls.
That's right. That's right. And then
Yeah.
the dog, she has hers on too. See, her Seahawks, her
Wait,
jersey.
what does it say on the bottom? Fuck around
Fuck around
and find out. Yeah. Back says, bitch, I'm a Seahawk.
That's
So,
right. They're selling these down at the stadium, and it's like everybody who's
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, real quick before we dive in. If you're a woman in midlife who's tired of the cliches and ready to live out loud, we're glad you're here.
Because you are definitely in the right place. We're not here to age gracefully. We're here to age boldly. So if you love real talk, big laughs, and the occasional spicy truth bomb, make sure to follow us on TikTok at Spicy Midlife Women for even more unfiltered midlife magic.
We are here to help all you midlife women redefine your relationships, ditch those toxic cycles, and reclaim your power one episode at a time. And that's why we are here, because we're going to do that right now.
That is right. We are excited to talk yet again about relationships. We're really trying to dig into this a little bit deeper and make sure it's sticking with some of you guys, because as we get into our community and a lot of the discussions we're going to be able to have, there's going to be so much conversation around relationships, not just romantic, but obviously relationships with yourself. And
life is full of them, man.
It's all about it unless you're a hermit, right? And then you have a relationship maybe with your UPS driver or your Amazon driver.
Yourself, which is probably the most important one.
Yeah, and the TV. Can you imagine?
No.
Okay, we're getting into something that doesn't matter because I'm never going to be a hermit. I'm never living off the grid.
No, I might. I'm just saying.
I'll be bringing Michelle earth that is organic or something so she can plant her peas. And then I'll eat the peas. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Michelle, what are we getting into today?
Well, again, relationships, but we're going to touch on all relationships and the changes that happen as we move through.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, as we evolve into midlife, and then as we're moving through in midlife, and what some of those things are. This is going to be eye level, overarching, bullet pointed, so we can cover kind of a lot. Because later on, we're going to dive deeper into sections of this.
Mm-hmm. So I mentioned before, it's not about romantic relationships in particular, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let me just say, remember when those romantic relationships made you have butterflies and you were just like all excited and stuff? Okay, it's not all about that now.
I think it's like, well, yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because don't you think that when you're talking about that and that type of relationship, it's hormonal? I mean, a lot of that is the hormones of that age, right? And you just look at somebody and get wet. Okay. Like if you're attracted to somebody, you're like, oh, geez.
I still do that.
Well, okay.
On occasion.
Okay. But
specifics.
I'm just saying. And then as you like evolve and you're moving through life, and now it's midlife, and
now she has to use lube all the time.
Related to those hormones still, and gosh darn it, that doesn't really happen as easily as it used to.
No, it just takes you a little longer, right?
Might feel those butterflies, but
unless you have the pellet, but that's another topic.
Anyways.
Yeah. But anyway, now it's more about, honesty and vulnerability and boundaries when we're talking romantic relationships and, any other kind really for that matter.
We've changed.
Yeah.
We've changed and our needs have changed. Our wants, our desires have changed.
Yeah. And, you start getting into things a little bit differently with people when you're interested in really learning more about them. Or maybe their quirks still freak you out and bother you, but you have to remember you have them too.
Well, and I think too at this point, pretending can be pretty exhausting. So if you pretend not to, or that it doesn't bother you and things like that, whatever it might be, that can be exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, realizing in midlife that ain't nobody changing really at this point. And there are things that you can be more tolerant of. It doesn't mean that it doesn't bother you or things like that, but you recognize, like Julie just said, you've got your own quirks. And to communicate and be playful about those things, I think is helpful or
Yeah.
can be when it comes to these types of things that we're
Let's talk
talking
about that
about.
for a second because there's like, okay, they can be 25 years old, they can be 60 years old, set in their ways. And don't you think? And so, but I do believe,
Meh,
oh, I do. I think a lot of it
I
has to do
think
with the
it's
way you're raised. And if you're like raised in a box, you might sit in a box. If you're very, rigid with how you look at things, it might be difficult for you to look at
everybody's
things.
different, but
Yeah.
I think being set in your ways at 25 looks very different than it does when you're 60.
Yeah. It's because they
I
don't
think,
necessarily have the experience, right? To
right.
go along with some of that. So I agree. But I guess my point that I'm trying to
Hmm.
get to is we talk about evolving and changing in relationships, and we're planning to do that. We've done that. We're continuing. We will always be evolving and changing, I think, because we've kind of
For sure.
embraced that. And all of these women that are out there, they're in the position where they have the choice to evolve and change in regard to their relationships as well. And their relationships could be with a variety of different people who don't choose to evolve and change. But everybody has the capacity to do that. You
Hmm.
can't just you can't just make people though. It's like you have to
You
accept them for
can't.
the place they're at.
That's right. You can't make people, they got to want to change. If there's changes to be made, they got to want to do that
Yeah.
themselves.
And it might be dependent upon how much they really want you in their life or
Hmm.
really want you at that level in their life. Whether it's a family member or whether it's, a really good friend or, even a romantic partner or whatever. It's something that people have to make a conscious choice to do, more of an
Hmm.
intentional choice if they want to, have harmony with you and as a friend. And it's not saying that you're in control and you've got all of the, you're the one that dictates everything. But, if you're making a change, you kind of do because you're putting up your boundaries, So
Hmm.
I don't think midlife is about breaking relationships, discarding relationships necessarily, but it's definitely about exposing the things in relationships that don't bring you joy or that leave you with a feeling of emptiness or frustration or guilt, whatever emotion. Yeah.
And that's the reason when you talk about that exposure. And I think because those things will be drawn out
Mhm.
as part of those boundaries, as part of there being a less of a tolerance for things,
Mhm.
and communicating about those things, there's less performance
Yeah.
of tolerance, if that makes sense. I think.
Well, there's the peacekeepers, right? The what people
Yeah.
that are really just more peacekeepers, and I would say that kinda ties in a little bit to pleasing. I think I mean, I know people that are peacekeepers, it's like they're the Switzerland of the group. They're the ones that are,
Yeah.
"Come on, guys, everybody get along," that sort of thing, but they never really share their ideas or where they feel things are in regard to maybe a circumstance is happening because they're the ones that are trying to just make everybody happy.
Hmm.
And so you might be that person, people that are listening, you might be that person and you might be just freaking tired of it, of being
Yeah.
that person. So if there's an emotional imbalance in a relationship that is in any capacity in your life, you have to really evaluate. It's like if you're putting all of this energy into try to make things work and you're fucking exhausted about it, maybe that emotional imbalance is kind of giving you a red flag that you need to look at, you
You
know?
got to pay attention. Pay attention to that because I think, and I know we opened up, kind of joking and talking about romantic relationships, but really this is all encompassing of family relationships can be when we're talking about these things.
Right.
You know, family relationships, friendships, even to a certain degree. There's all those types of relationships. Are the relationships we have with our children, right? And them with us, those types of things. And I think when I talk about less tolerance, I think we at this point are craving more depth with things than drama. We've
You
lived through plenty of drama
know,
in all of those types of relationships that I just mentioned. There's always throughout life has been plenty of drama for me anyways.
but
I
I'm
can't speak
thinking
for
about
you
this
all.
as we talk about this, I'm thinking about, like, extended fam like, my
Mm,
extended family, and not to name anyone in particular, but it's like the drama is built in to the
Mhm,
extended family to the point where that is pretty much what those relationships look like, to in my opinion, some of the things.
mhm,
And so I just kept kind of chosen to like remove myself from some of those things because I don't need that shit in my life. I don't need
mhm.
drama or to worry about so and so talking about so and so behind their
Yeah.
back. And I just, I'm like, I'm not in grade school anymore. And I just don't, I have no tolerance for a lot of it. So I think that kind of resonates maybe with a lot of people with family in particular, because that seems to be where it continues to happen over and over again because they're your family and, you didn't choose them, but you're stuck with them.
Well, and I really do love the whole Mel Robbins, "Let them,"
Yeah.
that's so huge, especially I mean, it's huge for everybody, and it's a
Mhm.
great learning no matter what stage you are in life. For us, we're in midlife when when I first heard about that, and
Yeah.
it's so easy. I mean, it's like literally 2 words. Let them. But I think it is because we crave more depth in our relationships
I think
and
it's
being
also about
able
letting go.
to just, yeah, let them. I
Mhm.
mean, we're talking about drama here, so
Yeah.
that's what made me think of that. I think it's going to be able to bring a sense of safety within yourself when it comes to those things and peace
I think the big one
also.
is peace because it's like when you say, like, and I have that book. Jen, my friend Jen, got me that book, and she got it for a bunch of us girls and stuff. And I actually got her the shirt to go to go with it. Yeah, because it's really more for you. It's kind of like when you are so angry with someone or resenting someone or just really hurt by somebody, and you hold on and harbor that. It's not hurting them, it's hurting you. It's kind of the same principle. It's like when you say let them, it's like you're just kind of like, Jesus, take the wheel, you know? It's like
Mhm.
I am I'm just not gonna worry about it.
Yeah.
It's not my circus, kind of a thing. I'm just letting it go because I'm putting too much energy into something that's creating all this
Yep.
anxiety for me, and I'm like, and it's not doing me any favor. So it's just
Mm-mm.
let them, let it go. And it's about just releasing judgment and everything too, I think.
Yeah, because it can keep hold on you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And really make you harbor a lot of interesting feelings and that don't do you any emotional well-being. It's not good for your
Mhm.
emotional well-being. It's not good for your physical well-being. So just let them and let it go.
Yeah,
That's a whole
exactly.
other episode, though.
I know, let them and let it go. So, talking about, again, midlife and relationships, kind of what we've been obviously speaking about. Um, if we're choosing ourselves now, we're choosing the people that we have become, and there are a lot of people that want the old person in their life. Maybe there's someone that you knew when you were younger and, you were a crazy party girl. And maybe you're
Mm.
just not a crazy party girl anymore, but they want the crazy party girl in their life.
Yeah.
It's like they want the old person, and you have to be okay with just letting them want that,
Yeah.
and just letting that go.
Just like the episode we had just recently, who benefits when you stay the same.
Yeah.
That is so true at this point in life because we get to choose who we are now. We've moved through all so many experiences and we're not that person that we used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of us.
Well, we are the sum of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's part of us and it's part of what made us who we are now for whatever we learned through it and however we moved through it and however messy it was, who knows? But yeah.
Well, and I wouldn't say all of it comes out smelling like roses either. It's like you take things just like anybody else, going through any kind of relationship that has hardship in it. Maybe it's a
Mhm.
death, maybe it's, a breakup, maybe it's, the family drama that tears everybody apart when someone passes away and the will, everybody fights over it. That's stuff that happens all the time,
Yeah.
and it doesn't make you feel, very good,
Mhm.
when those things are happening, but they do. And they do create part of your story
Yeah.
when you are married or in a long-term relationship and you break up. It's like there's baggage. There's all this shit you take with you. And the person that broke up with, they take all their shit with them. And it's like if you don't do something with that baggage, it's part of you, but it's not necessarily the best part of you. Those are things to think about. I know I've thought about that a lot because coming out of divorce, I thought, "Oh, piece of cake. I got it. Of course I'm perfect, right? Whatever." Oh, I was, yeah, so not really having a clue about anything. It was like basically being 24 years old again, trying to figure
Mhm.
things out. Anyway, um, the desire that we have, I think, is more about, being wanted for who we are and being accepted for who we are and not necessarily questioned, because of the experiences that we've been through. We may have a very unorthodox way of looking at something and people don't get it. They haven't had the experiences, so maybe they just don't get it. So it's more about kind of being able to feel comfortable in the place that you're at.
I think that's the key right there, being comfortable in
Mhm,
the place that you're at. Because people there is gonna be judgment. There is gonna be judgment because, from family members, again, with all these relationships, even in a partnership relationship,
mhm.
there will tend to be some judgment placed with regard to different things, and you do have to be confident and comfortable with who you are
Yeah,
and what this outcome is looking like.
yeah. No, that's very true. So now, we are in the present day. Who are we now? We've talked about that. What is our connection? We have become the women that realize we have been the fixer, we've been the glue, we've been the peacekeeper I talked about earlier. We are really in a matriarchal role in some capacity. Even if you don't have
Mhm.
children, you're in a matriarchal role.
Yeah.
And people look to you for guidance and advice on how to fix things and what to do. And it's like sometimes you just want someone to tell you. So you don't want to shrink to stay connected with people anymore.
It looks different.
Mhm.
You do wanna stay connected, obviously, but you don't wanna have to change and be less of who you are to continue and to keep that connection. So
So maybe you don't end up staying connected though. That's what I'm saying.
well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That that could be an outcome.
if you have, and this is a tough one where families are concerned,
Mhm.
because there are definitely people out in this world. Every one of us has a family dynamic of some kind
Yeah.
where they do shrink to, keep the peace or whatever the case may be, and kind of become not themselves in order. That's why you have so many people that just hate going to family gatherings. It's kind of sad, really,
Mhm.
because your family really should be your foundation for
I
everything.
I think it's important that you explore ways,
Mhm.
though, of trying to it depends on the connection. It depends on the family
Yeah.
dynamics. I know for me, I've had to explore different ways of, what that looks like
Mhm.
to keep those connections. Because trust me, I have some family dynamics that are going on, and I've had to navigate and come up with different ways to continue with and to keep those connections. Sometimes creativity, depending on the family dynamic or, what there is going on,
Mhm.
it's gonna be worth that exploration.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm shrinking or being less, but still being that matriarch of the family, if you
Yeah. Well, I
so,
mean, I'm thinking like, for example, we both have aging parents, but our
yeah,
our realities in regard to our aging parents is very different.
yeah,
It's like the relationships have been very, very different.
yeah.
Now I'm starting to see that a little bit differently than I did before. And a
Mhm.
lot of that is probably growth and maturity. Yes, I still gain maturity at my age, on my part, because I've come to learn and understand things differently than I did before. So instead of being so frustrated and so exasperated all the time, when I have to deal with my mom, who I adore, I love my mom, but she's a pain in the ass. I mean, truly, sometimes we have,
Yeah,
Michelle knows her. But now I'm seeing her differently. It's like
yeah,
the relationship has changed where, this matriarchal thing that we were talking about a minute ago is now I'm the person. My sister
yeah.
and I are the
Yep,
people
yep.
that are
The roles
holding the
reversed.
role. The roles are
Yep.
reversed. So you automatically will start looking at things differently and maybe with a little bit more patience and grace because it is what it is.
Well, and there is negotiation. You were talking about, frustration and stuff too. And I think that's where sometimes you got to just kind of flip that and realize that there
Mhm.
is negotiation that has to come to play with our relationships. And that is all relationships. There's going to be negotiation because some of those connections as a result of negotiation, they'll deepen
Mhm.
and some of them might feel tighter and feel better, and that connection is even stronger. But then there are those too,
Mhm.
through the negotiation, that might go the opposite way.
Yeah. So it
But you
either
won't.
levels up
Yeah.
or it levels out.
Yeah,
It's kind of the
exactly.
way it goes, you know?
Yeah, it does.
I
Yep.
guess it depends really how important it is to you.
Mhm.
I mean, we are at a place where I mean, I don't know about you. Well, I do know. We don't have a lot of free time in
Mhm.
terms of just having this, abundance of time to be able to just navigate all these new friendships and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really if I really connect with somebody, I totally want to get to know them, but it's like I don't really see those kinds of connections in the same way as I used to. I
Yeah.
always think about people as like, "Oh, they're my friend," or they're that person would be such a good friend or whatever, but it's like I don't have time to really dig in and get to know them, you know? So it turns they stay acquaintances basically
Mhm.
because we have a core group, I would say, where we will invest
Yeah.
our energy and our time.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
That's very true.
Yeah. So it isn't about losing people. It is really about kind of changing the rules of engagement. And I'm saying level up, as I mentioned before, or level out because, some people just aren't meant to stay in your life
Yeah.
in the same way. They might be in your life, but maybe they're more on the periphery or you just don't give them as much of your energy.
So, what do you think some of the things are that can help us have practical and empowering relationships? What does some of that
I
look
would,
like? Especially like now in midlife, where some of these can be, I don't want to say awkward. You know,
well, they can
they're
be.
changing and they can be different.
Yeah. I would say getting honest about the way we approach things versus being a, a drama queen about it.
Yeah.
It's not everybody has that.
Hmm.
That might even be kind of construed as maybe slightly immature, but there are plenty of people that it's like it turns into drama. Instead of dealing with a problem, it turns into drama, and that's
Yeah.
the way they end a friendship or end a relationship of some
Well, and
kind.
I think that just like what you were just saying, I think it's part that can happen if we are not apologizing.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to do that. And I think if we're not apologizing and just,
Mhm.
demanding, that's where that drama can come into
Yeah.
play. If we speak what we're needing, if we say those things, then I think that's going to be more helpful.
And putting thought into that because not every it's like when you're coming at somebody with something that may be an uncomfortable, awkward kind of proposal or concern or whatever, it's like, be really careful about using the I. It's not all about you. I mean, obviously, it's about how you're feeling about something, but when you're talking about something important with someone else, it's how they're feeling too.
I was going to say you have to let them react
Yeah.
as you're expressing or speaking about those needs. You have to let the other person react to whatever that is.
I have kind of a funny example of this. So Mary and I, I'm the social butterfly at work, right? She's not as much of a social butterfly, or she's just more particular, I guess, about the things that she gets involved in. And I want to show our face and make sure people know they're supported. I'm being my little Pollyanna self. And so I had asked her about this event, and I had said, "Are you going to go to the event?" "No, I'm not going." I'm like, "You don't ever show your face at anything. You don't ever come to any of these things. I go by myself. I'm whining about it, right?" And it was like a 5-minute thing that I could see the bubbles on the text messages, like she was playing with it, thinking
Uh-huh.
about it, probably, you know, deleting stuff and rewriting it, and then she sends me the cutest response. I replied to her and I'm like, "Did you just put that through ChatGPT?" And she's like, "No, that was all me." But what she was trying to convey was what her need was. And I mean, I'm sitting here imposing on her what my need
Right.
was, or it's
Right.
like, I want you to be a part of this, so I'm not doing it on my own. But really, it's nothing that was important to her. So it didn't really have value for her.
And I know you guys are friends, but I mean, therein comes a working relationship as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So this stuff has to do with, there's all aspects.
Yeah, and
For sure.
I certainly can't be mad at her for that.
Mm,
I mean, I kind of appreciate the way she responded to it. She didn't get angry, she didn't get snappy or, which,
yeah.
she can do. We do that back and
Mhm.
forth all the time, but it was just a very poignant response, and I was like,
Okay.
I was like, "That sounded like a ChatGPT response, but do you, girl. It's fine."
That's funny.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty funny. She said, "I swear to God it wasn't. It was all me."
Isn't that funny? I know everybody now, like if something sounds eloquent and you do a good job at something, everybody now just automatically assumes it's, AI or Chat GPT. We are smart people.
We are smart people, but most of us haven't gone through language classes in a while or punctuation or, whatever. So,
Yeah, yeah.
anyway,
I know.
so do we need permission slips though? We really don't. Permission slips to change our approach on things or permission slips to want more? No.
Uh, you don't need, yeah, you don't need those
Oh, I just
permission
answered that
slips.
for you.
Yeah, you did. You're allowed to want more.
Yeah.
You are. So, yeah, listeners, right now, you are allowed to want more. You are allowed to want different,
Hmm.
and you're allowed to, take up space within your relationships.
Yeah.
They can be healthy, putting some of these things that we just were talking about into play if you aren't already. Just contemplate and think about that. And maybe think about something that you would change if you stopped managing everybody else's comfort level.
If you stop being a
Like
pleaser.
changing the things you do so that everybody else is comfortable. What would change if you stopped doing that?
Yeah.
So it's
I've
kind
thought
of,
about that. I've thought about that a
I
lot
know.
with different relationships and stuff. It's like if I just didn't do anything, what would happen?
Mm,
If I stopped doing the things that I'm doing, what would happen? And the answer in my mind is a lot of nothing. Nothing would probably happen. Then I know that there's something wrong that needs to be changed.
I did that when I was married. I went on strike.
Yeah.
I did. I stopped cleaning. I stopped when I started working outside the home.
Yeah.
It's a whole other story. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm realizing all the things that I used to do. And I literally was like trying to keep up with it all as well as working and doing all the stuff. And I'm like, I'm going on
It's like,
strike.
we want you home because dinner's not ready or
And
whatever.
just
Like, "It's
everything
really damn dinner."
all in a handbasket.
So anyway, I think what's important to note that is we've mentioned before about our community
Yes.
that's coming. We're really excited about it. The Spicy Collective. We're
Mhm.
going to have the ability to have people register and sign up for this. Um, but this is a great example of being able to have really in depth, fluid, raw conversations with other women that are like minded, that have similar issues that they want to address, and just it's just a really I'm so excited about it, Michelle.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great platform to
Yeah.
really kind of dig into that and talk to other spicy midlife women,
Mhm.
or if you're just a midlife woman and you're wanting that spiciness intrigues you, this will definitely be a membership that you'll want to be a part of. So
Yeah.
yeah, more to come on that. We're excited.
Yeah, we're super excited. So, anyway, thank you everyone for joining us today to talk about this topic a little bit more. As Michelle mentioned, we'll be getting into more depth as we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. If you haven't checked us out on the socials, please go do that. We appreciate your support on all of them, TikTok, especially Instagram and Facebook, and over on YouTube.
Yeah.
Check us out there. Please
So you
subscribe.
can
And
fuck around and find out shirt.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
that too. Yeah. And we do appreciate all the downloads. The downloads have been downloading, and we definitely
The downloads have been downloading.
We see you. Yeah. Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Peace
Yeah.
out, everyone. Stay
All
spicy.
right.
Bye.
Bye.